we have a Christian nun, and then we have a Muslim woman. Do we see any similarities here? Covered, covered, covered. You cannot tell the difference between these three women. She's not doing anything different than this woman is doing, following the example of this, who is Mary, the mother of Jesus, peace be upon her. Nothing new here. This is a verse from the Quran telling about the reason why women cover. But this verse was not revealed just to the women. It was first given to the men. The men also have a hijab. They also have a means of modesty. And say to the believing men that they should lower their gaze and guard their modesty. And that is pure for them. And Allah is aware of what they do. Then it says, and say to the believing women that they should lower their gaze and guard their modesty, and that they should not display their beauty except that which is apparent, their face and hands, and to draw their veils or the hijab over all of their bosoms, and not to reveal their beauty except to their husbands, their fathers, their husbands' fathers, their sons, their husbands' sons, their brothers or their brothers' sons, or their sisters' sons, all of the relatives that they cannot marry. They can show these things to them. But this is not to be shown to the world. This is not something to broadcast to the world. This is something that is a beauty that she alone owns. And she only can display that beauty to someone who is able to have it. Not just to broadcast it to the world. We treasure women in Islam. We don't just throw them to the world. We protect them. If you had a huge diamond, would you walk around with it in your hand, leave it on top of your car, set it outside on the street? Would you do that? No, you wouldn't. You would want to keep it and guard it because it is something precious. This is what the status that Islam gives to women, that they are something precious. They are something to be protected. They are something to be cherished, something that is not just for everyone. It is only for those who are allowed to have them. And the same for men. I don't walk in the streets exposing everything. I don't walk in the streets exposing my private parts in my areas. I hide this. I keep this only for someone who is allowed to have it, which is my wife. Status of women. Women in Islam, like men, have the right to gain an education. They have the right to be educated. They have the right to engage in business. And when they engage in business, their profits are theirs alone. We don't, even as men, don't have any right to them. They don't have to give it to their husband. They can keep it. They have the right to engage in professions that keep them in line with their Islamic traditions. Something that does not take them out of their Islamic way of life. They have the right to engage in public life. They have the right to keep their family name and identity. When a sister comes into our sister gets married, she does not have to take the name of her husband. She keeps her own name, her own identity. She is who she is and keeps that identity. And her possessions, everything she owns, is hers. Her husband does not have a right to take any of it. If any society, and I want this to be very clear, if any society or individual oppresses women, discriminates against them, it is against Islam and not because of it. It is not because of Islam. If a man or a society or a nation oppresses women unjustly, it is against Islam, not because of the teachings of Islam, and it is because of their own shortcomings. Please do not associate this with Islam. The last topic, jihad. This is the big one. Jihad. What is jihad? You hear jihad used many different ways. Jihad, Islamic fundamentalist, terrorism, this, that, and the other. What is jihad? Jihad has a linguistic meaning also, just like Islam. The linguistic meaning means to strive or struggle. To struggle to do something. In Arabic, if they build a huge building, it will be said to them, they made a juhud on this building. Juhud, coming from the word jihad, meaning they struggle. They struggle to make this building. It also has an Islamic meaning. Number one Islamic meaning, it is a non-violent struggle within oneself for a life of peace. This is the number one meaning Islam gives to jihad. A non-violent struggle within oneself for a life of virtue. And also it has a meaning to fight, to establish justice, which is the supreme goal. Fight to establish justice and eradicate evil on the earth. Jihad orders in the tradition of Prophet Muhammad. Here's some of the rules and regulations that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, put down as rules for jihad. You are never to kill innocent people. Never, for no circumstance whatsoever can you kill innocent people. The Quran says if you kill one innocent person, it is as if you have slaughtered all of humanity. And if you save one innocent person, it's the same as you have saved all of humanity. Never injure prisoners of war. Do not beat them. Do not capture them and then kill them and cut their heads off. This is against Islam. Never kill animals. Never destroy crops. Never destroy infrastructures. You're not to destroy their wells. You're not to destroy their means of communications. As we see is not the same rules that are used against Muslims. You're not to destroy their infrastructures. You're only to fight those who fight you. You never mutilate the bodies of the enemies, dead or alive. All prisoners of war are given a fair treatment. Even in the times of Muhammad, peace be upon him, prisoners of war were told, if you can teach 10 Muslim children to read, you can go free. You can go free. This was the virtue of Islam. Women and children are protected from harm. You cannot touch women, you cannot touch children. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, during one of the wars that Islam fought, he saw a dead woman laying in the road, and he was very upset about this. And he questioned the people around him, why is this woman dead and she was not involved in the battle? This is against Islam. Always bury the dead with respect. They would always bury the dead, even if they were non-Muslim, with respect. Put them in the ground, give them proper burial, treat them with respect. Note, this is 1400 years, these rules, these regulations, 1400 years before the Geneva Convention. 1400 years before Geneva Convention, Islam had these laws. This is not something new. Same thing. Muslims are neither allowed to accept slavery or occupation. We're not allowed to be subjugated. We're not allowed to sit by and allow people to put us into slavery, to occupy us and allow and oppress us against our religion. This is something we do not accept. We are ordered to fight against this, to try to establish justice on the earth. Islam advocates moderation in this aspect. To take whatever means. If they can be done diplomatically, do them diplomatically. You first want to try to change it in the most wise manner. Islam abhors extremism. We do not like extremism. Extremism to one side or the other. We are moderate. We are in the middle. What God has chosen for us. A middle nation. A middle nation. Islam abhors terrorism. The word Islamic terrorists, Islamic fundamentalists, Islamic extremists, these words are an oxymoron. They cannot fit together. Islam and terrorism do not fit in the same sentence. Because Islam is against terrorism. Terrorism is against Islam. The word war on terrorism is an oxymoron. You cannot fight a war on terrorism because war itself means the killing of innocent people. The killing of innocent people is terrorism in its definition. So war on terrorism is an oxymoron. It cannot happen. You cannot fight a war on terrorism because terrorism is war. Oppression is abhorred by Islam. We are not allowed to be the oppressor or be oppressed. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said to help your brother if he's an oppressor or if he's oppressed. They said, we know how to help him if he's oppressed, but how can we help him if he's an oppressor? He said, stop him from oppressing. So I finish with this. God willing, you reconcile the proofs with yourself that I have given you. Reconcile them with your own hearts and arrive at the same conclusions that I have arrived at. That the true, original message of the Bible and of Jesus Christ himself and of Adam, Moses, Noah, Jesus, Muhammad is all the same. That their message was that the oneness of God in the truest sense. Their message was the same. That God is one in the truest sense of the word, and that they all submitted themselves to God as Muslims. Meaning one who submits himself to the will of God. Inshallah, God willing, through this information, you arrive at these same conclusions that I arrive at because it is for the safety of your soul. It is for the salvation of your own soul. The only way to make it to paradise is to accept God, Allah, as one, alone, and accept all of the prophets, including Muhammad, the last one. This is our message of Islam that is in the Bible, in the Torah, in the New Testament. We are not doing anything new except reviving the traditions of the prophets of old. So may God guide you. Ask for His guidance. Go back. Look with an open heart at the evidences. Ask God to guide you. And God willing, you will arrive at the same conclusions I have arrived at. Thank you for your time. And I hope that I have been of some benefit. Thank you for watching the Deen Show. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you.